webinar. Today, we're really excited to have Itikub, and please do fix that pronunciation, Julian, for me, to talk about field-ready digital coordination and a case study on workstations. We also have joining us JB with Autodesk. So without further ado, I will turn it over to them to give a brief intro and tell us a little bit more about our topic today. So let's first start with Julian. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the specific area of the industry that you are and what you're working on.
Good morning, Aaron, and everyone. I mean, maybe not good morning, good afternoon to some. My name is Julian Ulrich. I'm the CEO and co-founder of IT Cube. And no, I'm not going to try to have you say IT Cube any specific way. There are many different ways to pronounce it. IT Cube in the US or North America at least will be just fine. Started IT Cube over 10 years ago, doing multi-touch tables and regular devices until I got a call from JB, who was then at Vinci, who asked us if we could help him manufacture a prototype first, a workstation that would enable them to replace paper blueprints on construction sites, and something that would be waterproof, would work with Globe, and would be connected so that they would get real-time connectivity and update of the information they're using it. So that's the first prototypes we rolled out in 2016. So it will be February, I think. JB will confirm. So it'll be almost 10 years we've been at it. So we're headquartered in France. We're covering the European and Middle East market from there. And I currently live in New York, and we have a distributor, and I'm taking care of the North American and South American market from here.
Fantastic. All right. And I'm originally from New York, so shout out New York. Awesome.
Yes.
And then let's go to JB. So JB, how did you get your start in the industry? What's your background? And I think from what I've heard a little bit of, it's a pretty interesting journey that you've had. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm a civil engineering by degree. I started in construction industry in Vinci Construction in France, something like many years ago now, back in 2008. And at the time I started R&Ds, and I moved forward and initiated BIM engineering department in Vinci Construction. So from myself up to 25 people. And when the department was mature enough, we were supporting the major projects of Vinci Construction in France, high-rise towers, hospitals, museums, or jails, whatever was in BIM. And I moved back in 2019. I've been a project director building a university campus in Paris. Then COVID happened. I left Vinci, and Autodesk called me to become a member of their consulting team. And I changed role 1 year ago, and now I'm a business consultant in Autodesk. So I'm supporting customers to understand what are the challenge, how they can get value for our products, and things like that. And I've been at the origins of the idea of the totem, of the digital totem with Julia.
Okay. All right. So we've got a ton of expertise. I'm excited to have you both here. And just a quick note to our audience, I see a couple of you have joined. Thank you so much for hopping on. That comment or that chat box is there for you. So we do want to hear from you. Absolutely. Please ask questions, share your comments or any thoughts that you have throughout the discussion. And we will be able to answer them live as well as get some engagement there. So please do use that comment or chat box. So let's maybe kick off. Back to you, Julian. So what is the beginning of the company? Why create Itikub?
Well, the how it started was at lunch at my parents with my younger brother, who is a 3D software developer. Mm-hmm. And he came to me and he told me some of his clients, because he was basically coding some really cool 3D apps using Unity already back then. And he told me that some of his clients were looking for a giant iPad to showcase his apps, and there was no such thing on the market. It was a little after the actual iPad had come out, but there wasn't anything. And we're a family of geeks, so we're like, okay, there's no giant iPad. Guess what? We're gonna make one. And then we made a prototype, and it worked, and the rest is history, as I say. So we initially, the first few years, we focused on indoor, like pretty classic, really big touch tables. Our specialty was onboarding a lot of CPU and GPU processing power so that pretty extensive, pretty big apps could run on it. For instance, Airbus is one of our clients for those kind of devices. They run their big Katia, if you're familiar with the Dassault, with the 3DS software. They run their modeling on our devices. So that was the focus for a few years until we shifted entirely to more construction side and industry devices. So we still have a few clients here and there for more classic touch tables, but we're entirely focused on the construction industry and manufacturing. We also have, as much as this is about construction and construction sites, we actually have two big types of devices, some that go outdoors, totally waterproof, winterproof, sunproof, everything. And we have other devices that are used, I'd say, primarily by naval shipyards, where they don't need waterproof, but they need same, big touchscreens to visualize blueprints with the team.
Got it. So one of the things that I'm really curious about, and probably others are as well, we've seen iPads or tablets, right, make kind of a really big splash in construction, and in the general market, right, it feels like everybody has one, and we see them around all the time on the job sites. But why go to a bigger screen, right? So you mentioned a giant iPad was the demand or the need that you guys are kind of meeting there. Like, why did that come up, and how is that a driver? So yeah, what does that supplement beyond just a tablet?
I mean, what format do you print blueprints on a construction site? You don't print a letter or an A4 blueprint, right? You need size, you need to visualize what there is. We're not competing with tablets as a single person use, and maybe sometimes to show a little bit of information. They're awesome. Most of our clients actually use both types of devices. And the idea with our devices is that you have something that is there, always available, with a very large and bright screen, full whatever connectivity you have, whether it's 5G or Starlink if you don't have that, with batteries, even like a keyboard and a mouse for some software, and everything will run on it. So it is like a hub. It's a digital hub that you have on the construction side that is very complementary to tablets, which are more individual based.
Got it.
Should I just show a picture of what we're talking about, just in case?
Absolutely. I think that'll help too with giving some.
Yeah, just to give an idea. Let me pull up one that is.
Got to find that share button.
There is better. See, here's one.
Let me make that big. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah. So tell us about this image.
So it's that one is one that we had actually just delivered in Oregon. So it's not outside just yet. But what you see there is you see a laptop that's plugged in at the bottom. There's a UPS and a battery, and basically you have a large 49-inch 4K screen that's touch that you can pull out, and you work So Steve here is on his own, but you work on like a big mobile uh, office if you want. So
Mhm.
you see you have hooks, the red hooks on the left side. I mean, they're on both sides that enable you to just crane the device if needed. I mean, it weighs about 700 pounds, so you can roll it if you have hard floors.
Oh,
There is 5G connectivity, and basically that's your big mobile office. You can just come in, plug your computer, HDMI, USB if you want the touch, and off you go.
all right, off you go. Yeah. So I think that was really helpful, Julian, to kind of see what exactly it is that we're talking about here and why this is so different from your typical tablet. I want to ask JB, any other thoughts to share on this, on why this is helpful and why we can't really just survive with something in our pocket walking around?
Yeah, the first thing is that have you ever tried to hold an iPad in your hand? It requires both of your hands.
Right.
In my previous company in Vinci, it was forbidden to have your hands not free when you are moving around on the site. So, in fact, using an iPad does require that you put yourself on the side in a safe environment so you can use the iPad. Because if not, you are unsafe because you cannot you cannot circulate with it. So, in fact, iPad is okay to be used when you do not move. So, why moving with the iPad? And especially, why do you need an iPad when an iPhone can do the work?
Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
And iPhone has grown very fast in terms of power and size of screen and all those things. So why giving two devices to an employee when you can give only one device to this employee, which has already an iPhone or a smartphone or a rugged phone or whatever?
Hmm.
The other thing is that the iPads, we all have iPads at home, and they are not used for professional stuff. So we had a lot of cases when iPads raised in France, at least, where iPads were staying at home, being used by the kids, instead of being used on the field for professional things, which was
Yeah.
an issue because at the beginning, corporate management of iPads was just a mess.
Hmm.
So we moved away far from that, very fast from that, and we also had some health and safety issues with glasses because the glass of the iPad can break very fast. So it was expensive replacement and protecting it, and but it was never something that was easy. It was something fragile, expensive, that was staying at home. If you put it on the belly, it's not very comfortable. If you put it on the arm, it's always moving. If it is
Mhm.
with a kind of glove on your hand, then you have a palm instead of having a hand. So no, not easy, not practical. It's done for somebody only surveying,
Yeah.
but somebody really working, it does not work. The other thing is also that when you want to discuss around something, you never do something on a napkin. If you want to do something precise, you don't do it on a napkin. You do it on a proper sheet of paper.
Mm.
Uh, and in many cases, you are not only two persons. You are three, you are four, maybe you are 10.
Mhm.
So this place for us, this piece of site cabinetry, this office is a safe place where people meet. They solve an issue or they discuss about an issue, or it's a safety time where they set some reminders around the safety. Okay, we're gonna start in the morning. Work starts in 10 minutes, so let's review the health and safety topic of today. And there is a video, and everybody does the gym or something like that. Or just a reminder, today the agenda is at 9 we have concrete delivery, at 10 we have steel delivery, all those things,
Mhm.
which makes that you set the reminder for the half day and everybody is warmed up when the task is starting.
Right.
And it
Right.
is not and it is not at the bungalow, because at the bungalow the team is mixed with other teams. Bungalow is in average 15 minutes to 20 minutes walk away from the proper real place where you work on the site.
Hmm.
So these kind of things make that okay. Just at the time, just before the task, you set everything right.
Yeah. So that was
Aaron,
really
I took the
comprehensive.
liberty of I
Yes.
took the liberty of showing a picture of
See that
like a
coloring.
team. in
Give
front
me
of a
one
device.
moment. I'll pull this up. Yeah. So Julian, thanks for popping this in. Do you want to maybe relate that back to what JB was sharing?
It's actually so that was taken on a construction site of for Vinci, where see you have five people and me taking the picture in the back. I think it was me, but you have a 3D model, whatever BIM model, and people discussing it together. That would be much harder to do on an iPad, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen it in my own experience where it's a little tough and you're all huddling around this tiny little screen and trying to navigate with your finger and you get lost in the model and then the conversation goes sideways and it's maybe less productive than it could have been. So yeah, I have seen those
And
struggles a
also
lot.
iPads are not necessarily always connected. In general, one thing if like that I want to stress out is most of our clients replace paper printing with our devices,
Mm,
and we have a lot of clients for whom it becomes cost effective within about a
yes.
month, just savings in printing costs. What like we all know, a paper blueprint is obsolete by the minute it's finished printing, if not before. The other thing
Unfortunately.
that connectivity does for you is that there's also a feedback loop to the
Mhm.
main office or to whatever. If you make edits or at least comments on paper, obviously that doesn't go back to the main office. But if you do it on an electronic version, you will give feedback and useful information to the rest of the
And
crew, the teams, or everything.
and it
Yes.
doesn't mean that it is erasing the iPad from the field. It means
Right.
that there is a central point that it is the totem. Maybe there are surveyors and people with iPads around that are taking pictures or whatever, and it can be brought back to the totem. Instead of being brought back to the bungalow, it is to the totem,
Right.
which is a kind of deported bungalow on site close to production. And
Right.
with the proper app, like in Autodesk, we have ACC docs and builds that are made for tracking things, collecting, redistributing the work. It's far easier to manage. I will give you just an example. On a site, every day, you have people dropping things around. Okay, you use a little bit of construction material, and you have a rebar, you have an hammer, you have
Mhm.
a piece of wrapping or whatever that stay on the field, and nobody cares about it. It's not an issue until you have an accident, until
Mm.
this thing is flying away and and fall on the windscreen of a car coming past through. Or it's not an issue until somebody walk on a piece of rebar and then he's rolling and falling on his back. And many stories. We all have stories of people walking and having an accident just by walking. And a lot
Mhm.
of it is due to cleanup. If you want to monitor cleanup, you don't pay somebody to clean up for people. You need people to be responsible of cleaning up their own mess.
Ideally, yeah.
The best way to survey it, take a picture, and then every half day, when the work is restarting in the morning and after lunch, you review everything from the previous period. Okay, guys, at the end, after lunch, now the first thing we do before starting working is cleaning up the mess. So
Mm.
let's tidy up. This goes in the right place. And you distribute the work, and within 5-10 minutes, everything is cleaned, the site is safe again, you can restart work. If you do it at the bungalow, okay, I've took pictures, blah, 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 blah. Guys, let's go. A quarter hour after, once they arrive on site, on the production site, they have forgotten everything you have said. Because in
Yeah.
between working together, they have discussed about the weather, the
Right.
kids, or the football tournament. So
Yes. What I'm getting from that, JP, is that instead of having to always head back to headquarters on the job site, which takes time, not everybody's going to get there at the same time, right? Um, this enables like multiple communication hubs throughout so
yeah,
that everybody can collaborate much more effectively. And it's a supplement, right? It's augmenting whatever other workflows you may be doing on mobile or on
uh,
tablet. So
yes,
that was
there are
really inspiring.
two,
Yeah.
two things we know in terms of
Yes.
construction management. The more you decentralize the decision making, so you bring it down on little tasks, the more people are responsible and they manage the thing properly. So it increases your safety, your productivity, everything, because people are responsible of their part of the work. That's the first thing. The second thing is that statistically, more than 50% of the accidents happening on a construction site is just circulating on a construction site. So walking on a construction site is as dangerous as walking on the side of a motorway, kind of. So the less you get people to move around on the construction site when it is used less, meaning I need a quotation, I need an information on my drawing, and instead of going to the bungalow, I'm logging in the totem, I'm zooming in, zooming out, maybe I'm having a call with a structural engineer, or I'm just calling the bungalow, having a video chat, and I share my screen and I show, okay, here, I do not understand your drawing, please explain to me.
Right.
So you skip 30 minutes of walk and a big risk, and 30 minutes over 8 hours or 10 hours of work per day is gigantic.
So I'll
Aaron,
pause there. I'll pause there just for a quick second because I see a couple new people have kind of hopped in onto the stream. So thank you guys for joining. And just a quick reminder: you please use that comment or that chat box. Leave any questions or thoughts that you have about this topic. So we'd love to see that from you. So just wanted to put that out there. Yes, Julian, you're just
Aaron,
about to
yeah,
dive into
I
this.
just shared. I just shared on my screen a study that Vinci actually did for some of the. They call them totems over there. So for our workstations, and they calculated that foremen were saving 40% of their commuting time, and productivity was up 5%. And for them, the ROI was 25 days. So they have, I think they have more than 60 devices in France right now, just saving them a ton of money.
All right. Can we chat about the geographical differences? So I know you guys are in multiple locations throughout the world. It's fascinating to see, where has adoption picked up with this and where they're realizing the benefits of this type of technology and hardware versus where is it not catching on so much?
I guess because of first historical reasons, we started in France, and I've been
Right.
serving Europe. So our main markets today are France, Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands. We're moving up north a little, and we're seeing some beginning of something in the south, Italy and Spain. It hasn't caught up that much in the Middle East. One of the reasons being that salaries are so low and people are so, I wouldn't say disposable, but they come, very cheap. So they're not there yet. And I think we're starting to see it, obviously, in the US and Canada, but definitely behind. Also because I think we've only been here a couple of years, and the markets are definitely different. The most of the objections we're hearing today in the U.S. market are the objections we were getting in the European market 5-6 years ago.
Okay. Why do you think that the difference is there?
You tell me. You are the what's the cultural difference? I think from what I see, it's always hard to change the way you do business. The construction industry has been using paper for what, 2,500 years, if I caricature that. There is no absolute sense of urgency about changing it until you see it happening.
Julien, there is a major difference on a construction site in most part of Europe, Germany, Switzerland, France, Netherlands, and South. The general contractor is just a general contractor. It's the main contractor that have structure, foundation works on site, and coordinating the other jobs. which is different with a PMC contract in the US, like in the UK, where the general contractor is contracting everything, meaning subcontracting everything. So it's just coordinating. It's completely changing the thing. So I think maybe the two main kind of companies that will be attracted by the totem are not general contractor in the US, but maybe more MEP contractors and structural contractors and facade contractors.
The more specialty trades.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they have workers on the field. They have to solve coordination things and details and things like that on the field. Where a PMC contractor, he doesn't need those things. It is to the others. It is already delegated for him to handle. We just
Probably. Now, there's still a ton of paper printing that's happening everywhere in the US. So I assume,
Paper,
like
yeah.
all these blueprints can be replaced efficiently by some electronic drawing.
Yeah, one of the things that shocked me the most when I was first getting into the industry was, one, like the sheer volume and stacks of paper in the trailer, and then two, the price tag with those stacks of paper. Very shocking. So yeah, anything that helps go green and save a little bit or a lot of bit of money, that there's a lot of value there. So
We
I
have
want
we have one
okay.
client in New York City that spends north of $10,000 in printing costs every
Yeah,
month,
yeah,
and
month.
just for
It's
the
crazy.
record here, our devices cost roughly, depending on the options, about $15,000.
Hmm.
So what is it? A month and a half? Okay, 2 months, and you've already saved money and become more efficient. Now, one thing I cannot totally discount is that there is also some requirements from Department of Building, for instance, in the city where you need to have paper filed, etc.
Right.
So
There's going to be
I'm not saying
you're
get
going to
rid of everything overnight, but the issue with the use of our devices is definitely not about the price.
But
Is how
out,
you
out of that,
the
if you consider just that you're not your worker profile, but just one on top, not the engineer, but the technician, the one that is coordinating a team of 8 to 10 people on site.
Mhm.
His average cost is something like 70 USD per hour. So if you just economy 1 hour of that guy going back and forth, one time in the morning, one time in the afternoon, going to the bungalow for a detail, it's already $140, $150 per day.
Right.
So you can be sure that over a year he will work more than 100 days. As basic as that. So
Right. And to your point, JB, earlier, our mobile devices too, the phones can cover, most or, a good chunk of some of the workflows there as well. So yeah, it's kind of
the best environment is to coordinate and get use of both of technologies together,
right.
because
Right.
together you get a lot. You use your iPhone as a notebook
Yep.
to share this information to the crowd on the totem, to explain on the totem, but your phone is something personal. You will never show on your screen or the screen of your phone something in detail.
Right. Right. And it comes down to the basics, right? Use the right tool for the right job. So
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of.
absolutely.
And something maybe, Julien, you haven't said because it's not obvious, but the size we designed for the totem is to fit into elevators. So the goal is that when the structure is done, you can use the lift or you can use the elevator
Hmm.
to get the totem go up and down. It's made to be used by human, not by machines. So it can be transported everywhere. Sorry.
maybe.
And thanks for being on, even being under the weather, JB. Appreciate you sharing and fighting through that cough. So I want to make sure we have time for this question because I think it's a really interesting one. So first, for Julian, in your opinion, what's innovation and why does the construction industry need innovation and different tools and techniques of building? And why now, right? Like why at this time? So what
Well,
is
I don't
it?
know if
Why do we need
I
it?
think it always needs it. I don't know if it's why now. I think there are two main issues in my view: safety on site and cost efficiency. There is still so much. Well, first, there are still way too many accidents on site, and people moving around and not paying attention enough is one thing. And then there are so many like there's not a single construction project where things happen as they were planned. So things are changing all the time, which
Right.
generates mistakes. And you have to take down what you've done the day before because whatever the electrician wasn't doing his job or anything. So the innovation is to be simply, I think, to be more efficient and make fewer mistakes and be more cost effective. And I think we as for any industry, we will always innovate and need to innovate to get safer and more efficient.
And
And
if you
uh,
could summarize briefly, like what does innovation mean to you?
Um,
I know putting you on the hot seat there, but yeah.
changing the way you do things to be safer and to be safer, more efficient, and and when I say more efficient, it's both on a cost level, on a safety level, and on a design level. Obviously, there are buildings we're building now that couldn't have been conceived without the use of 3D modeling software, for instance.
Right.
And these buildings are, whether they're better looking, they're more efficient, energy wise, like
Yeah.
all of that, that comes from innovation.
And it takes change. That's kind of what I keyed in on there. So
and
it's changed.
and just consider the technicalities of a building today. It's
Hmm.
far more complex today to build a building. We talk about air resistance and things like that. So building a building today is not just doing assembling things. You need to respect a certain order. You need to respect a certain conventions. There are far more documentations to take care about. There is far more control with surveys and things like that. You have pre-commissioning and then commissioning. If you don't do things straight from the first time, it costs you maybe 3 or 4 times more than it was costing before, because then you have to go to other trades to get rid of their work and redo and redo. It's definitely not the same game. It is
Okay.
completely changing the approach.
Right. So, JB, if you could expand as well on that same topic, like what exactly is innovation to you, and why is it so critical for the industry today to adopt and kind of change the way that we've been working?
I think the first thing is that people need to get information at end, because the timing of buildings is not the same. The cost of building is not the same. When I
Hmm.
started my time in construction industry, the average for a group housing square meter price for social housing was 1.2, 1.3 euros per K euros per square meter as construction cost in France. And when I left a little bit more than 5 years ago, it was dropped to 900.
Okay.
So to be able to
Or more.
achieve that, there are
Yeah.
a lot of things to be done in terms of efficiency. And the first thing is get rid of inefficiencies, of
Right.
unquality things. And there are, in terms of quality, there is a quality you perceive and the strong quality on the long term. The quality you perceive as a customer of a building is the layout. You perceive the painting, you perceive the tiling, things you see. And it's not so expensive to solve. It's a lot of points in commissioning, but it's peanuts in terms of cost. But when your HVAC, when your water resistance, when your windows are not set properly and things like that, it's not something that's going to be seen in the first year of construction. It's maybe in the 10-year warranty of your building that those issues will appear. So the more you bring the right documentation, access to information when people build, to be sure that they build the first time good, you
Yes.
get rid of those long-term issues.
Mm-hmm.
And commissioning requests are getting harder and harder and stricter. Now you need to take pictures of everything. The buildings are getting more clever than before. So if you want a clever building,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need to have a digital twin now. And this trend is
Right.
growing naturally. But a digital twin is nothing if the twin is not connected to reality.
Yes.
And to connect the twin to reality, it's pretty simple, but it requires a little bit of work. It's to be sure that the virtual model is the exact copy of what is produced, which goes in both ways. You need to adapt the digital, and you need to get to be sure that the reality is what we designed. And then you need to add information to the virtual about what is done, like the addresses of the beacons and things like that. This work requires to work on a model on site.
Right. And
So to do that on an iPad, I would
it's
say if you need to navigate into the HVAC system, the BIM model of your HVAC system or electrical system on an iPad or an iPhone, to be able to click on the right HVAC unit on your ceiling or your e-valve or something like that, to add the MAC address on an iPad, that's not very fast system. Or you can have another solution is, maybe you have a totem, you have a large screen, you can zoom in, you can add the information, and you just have a guy at the opposite side of the corridor giving you the name, the name of the piece of
yep.
equipment with the MAC address and that one.
And with bringing in like digital twins and the model, it's so important because we put so much effort into creating these things, and then what we've seen time and time again is that they don't get used in the field, and then things go wrong. And the problem is like easy accessibility to this digital asset that we've sunk so many resources into. So anything that really helps bring that information to the field has multiple times of value, I think, as
And
well.
And
it's
with the back and
important.
forth, bringing it to the field, and as JB was saying, getting the changes and the feedback from the field to the central
Hmm.
place where the model is hosted.
And just as basic as that, we all know that not every trade will be modeled. Yeah, it's sure. Yeah. Have you ever seen a
Not yet.
plasterboarder modeling the plasterboards?
Maybe one day.
Not so many times. It does happen. There is a company in France that is doing that and delivering that. But let's just go for tiling. Have you ever seen somebody tiling, designing in detail? Yes, in some palazzo in Italy, in some high luxury things and some Apple stores. But standard housing, I've never seen anybody really designing it in 2D,
Hmm.
and especially coordinated and synchronized on site. And for people to understand, it's good for them to be able to discuss together around, okay, there is a digital model, I need to do something, I need the precise quotation about where will be the door, because I will set the tiling depending on the doors and windows. So
And
there will still be a coordination of 2D and 3D.
JB, I'll give you a quick break there. Just another reminder. So we're in maybe like the last 10 minutes or so. So for our audience, I put a little prompt there if you want to share as well. What do you think innovation is? Why do you innovate? Why is it important to you? And then also now is the perfect time to ask any questions or leave any comments or thoughts, so that we have time to get to them live. So please do put that in. And looks like we do have one question coming in. So it looks like this is maybe from LinkedIn. So do we think there needs to be a new tool to fix the time it takes and who is able to create and add to models? Interesting question.
A new tool, as in what? A new a new piece of software, something that like a new Revit?
Let's assume either software or hardware or a combination of the two. I would assume maybe software heavy.
JB, where's Autodesk and all of that? When is Autodesk going to make Revit easier and faster?
In fact, it's more a question of process. The question is a question of responsibility about who owns the responsibility to update the model and which part. If it is just updating data in the model, let's say fire insulation of a door, acoustic insulation of a wall, or the MAC address of a beacon, or the serial number of something, that's all things that can be done on the screen with 2 fingers. Okay, and the guy installing it can do it on the field. So yes, in that case, an iPad or the Totem is the right tool. And it can be done on various platforms of Autodesk. Either it's, we say the person is not in charge and responsible of this kind of information. So in ACC, it could create just an issue and the owner of that trade will update the model, or it can be done on Tandem.
And they've clarified here an easier Revit, so we got that.
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's what I was.
An easier Revit. It depends what we call about being easier. There are things coming in. If you have looked at the last Autodesk University, especially the mega transformation of the Forma platform, and as you may have seen, that everything we do in terms of cloud for AEC will be rebranded under Forma name. But the origins of Forma was the Spacemaker company we acquired some time ago. And this is growing so fast in bringing easier tool to design and bringing automated detail. And it's also something that is flowing down to Revit now, is with Revit being completely not on the cloud, but connected to the cloud, where the model is on docks. Those automations are flowing in Revit. So what you will do in Revit might be only 20% of what you were doing before, because the basics of design of automated detailing will be done before by automations, flowing from Forma and from the setup you have in Revit. So you will be solving the 20% of issues you had before in terms of self-coordination, detailing, managing angles, and things like that. So it will be easier Revit, because it's not that it will be an easier Revit. It's maybe more that the time you will have to spend might be the same, but only on the real issues and not on the standard design.
Okay, great summary. I see a few more people popping in here right at the end. So please do ask questions or leave any comments for us in that chat box, and we will see it and be able to get to it in the last few minutes here. Thank you, JB, for a thorough answer to that. To this question as well, I had the opportunity to attend Autodesk University this year as well and see the keynotes, and there are some exciting things that should help automate and make Revit a little bit easier. So we'll look forward to seeing those updates and how that gets rolled out. So exciting times to be in construction tech. So let's see. Julian, anything to add to that question? Like, new tools to make things go easier, take less time, etc.
We're tools agnostic. Actually, that's a good segue for me. We, like 99%, we don't provide the computer that goes inside the device, because what we want is for our clients to use, first, for their IT to be happy about all the security issues,
yes, IT.
and to use their licenses, and we want to minimize to the max any training that they would need. So like whether it's an easier Revit or a different piece of software, that's the thing about our devices. As long as it works somewhere, it will work on our devices, because we don't supply the computer. I mean, we can, but it's really, we've found it pretty counterproductive. So our clients just come in with their software. If it works great with a touchscreen, which more and more of the software do,
Yeah.
then you have it. But there is obviously always, a keyboard and a mouse that will be in there, and you plug your computer and it works right off the bat. This is our job, is to minimize the effort, the learning curve, or anything.
Yeah.
And the
Cognitive.
fact that obviously smartphones and tablets are ubiquitous makes our devices just like literally plug and play. We've hardly, I mean, I was trying to think, when is the last time we actually went and helped a client set up a device. We just ship them, and there's just like a one-page documentation with it. You plug it, turn on the breakers, plug your computer, and off you go. There is like no learning time, training, and everything. It is beyond plug and play, and it's like robust, and all you need is clean up the screen.
Yeah. Very nice. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to get to our last question here. So, with the way the industry is headed and been evolving so rapidly with software, hardware, everything in between, where do you think the future is going for technology on the job sites, and what does that look like? So maybe we'll go to Julian and then JB. So thoughts on that? Like, what's the future of the industry?
Well, that's actually a tough question for us. What we're seeing from, like, again, a very specific
Mhm.
place. We're getting requests. We're getting a few requests for like super large devices. I'm not totally sold on that, because, as JB mentioned earlier, the size of our devices make them like relatively easy to move. They fit in elevators, etc. What we're seeing more is a demand for like an intermediate, more portable size device, something that could be just like a wheel, like almost on a wheelbarrow. We have one of our clients who's was designed a prototype of like 30-inch screen that can be just put on some sort of wheelbarrow. Like, there's no question in my mind, but obviously, when what's the
Mhm.
the saying, when you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like,
good one.
what we're coming from is what we're seeing is obviously more screens and less paper will be coming. Now, I'm not sure where the industry is with regard to AR headsets, for instance. It was all the rage a few years ago. I don't see that much with it anymore, but
Little
again, I'm
clunky.
I'm,
Yeah, tried it
I'm,
myself.
I'm mostly at my desk here,
Yeah.
but doesn't come up much with our clients. What we see is a connection between our devices and some drone work also.
Ah, okay. Fascinating.
We have a couple of clients who have fleets of drones that stream to one of our workstations, and where the team can see what's happening.
All right. Okay. So lots of potential. Maybe a lot more screens. We'll see. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for sharing that, Julian. And then thoughts on the future state of the industry in regards to this topic for JB.
I think it's mainly connectivity.
Connectivity.
As there is no longer, I go on site with a copy of the thing I have to do, and nothing will change over the next 3 months. So I'm in a bubble, and I build my thing, and then I go away, and it is finished. It's no longer the case. There are FIs, there are changes, there is weather, there is any issue that makes that you cannot do your job as if you were alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. The other thing is that the sites are not so easy than before because of technicality or just because there is less land on Earth. So less and less you build something in the middle of nowhere. There are still
Yeah.
some places where you build in the middle of nowhere, but more and more, if you want to build a data center, it's in between other things.
Yep.
Uh, and so you need to take care about what you are doing. If we just talk about place I know, like Paris, in the
Mm.
business center of Paris, if you move a crane, the feet of your crane are on something, maybe the subway, maybe a parking unit, maybe on top of the road. And this road is used by firemen, by the police station, maybe it's the safety road for a ministry or anything like that. Maybe you have a military network under, because we have military networks around Paris that are flowing. Or maybe just your crane cannot see the place where it is trying to get a delivery picked, because your truck is delivering somewhere. The guy with his crane is trying to pick something that he doesn't see. And
Right.
he needs connection. Okay, he got an HF and he's discussing with the guy on site, but he doesn't see a thing. So we have added sometimes some cameras to the hook, or cameras to the arrow of the crane. But there is always a third guy that is trying to check what is being delivered, that is overlooking this task between the crane operator and the guy on site. So when those three guys have to work together, it's easy to talk one to one. But three together, being coordinated, having the right information, going to the right place, it's not the same. Because when the crane is picking something on the ground,
Right.
do you really imagine that the guy on the ground will walk, take the lift, and go to the 30th floor of the IRAS tower to get the delivery being delivered at the right place? No, it's another guy. So at the end, your team of three is a team of four. So it's just adding people.
Keeps
They need to be
going.
able to coordinate to get a central control tower, and it
Right.
goes in all the jobs.
Great
And
point.
even if we talk about a data center, that is something that on average is flat or flattish.
Yep.
You do not enter in a data center construction site openly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is something closed. It is something that more and more is getting over
Secured.
cleaned. It's a
Yeah.
laboratory at the end. So it requires to be able to communicate in and out and to get fast answer. If you talk to data center business or hospital business or whatever business, even commercial now, the day of opening of the facility is something that is crucial.
Yes. Yes.
So everything that can be done to respect that day of opening is crucial, because
Crucial.
one day lost is a day of production, is a day of selling, is a day of data, is a day of oil and gas or whatever. You cannot recover from that.
So that was a lot of food for thought, JP. I'm probably going to come back and re-listen to that as well as Julian's take as well. Lot to think about and put together there. I do want to share one comment that's come in. Fantastic note here from Adam on innovation. So a little comment here. The difference of leading the industry as a sustaining, modernized powerhouse versus the dated relic that is functionally obsolete. And I think that ties exactly back into what you're mentioning, Julian, is change, right? And then the overall concept of being more effective, safer, efficient. We need to be doing these things if we want to be innovative. So thanks for sharing that, Adam. So we are in our last minute or so. If anyone has any additional questions or comments, do feel free to leave them. We will see them after the session as well and be able to address them. And then one last question for our fantastic speakers here. So JP, if anyone wants to follow up or maybe reach out, where can they connect with you? Is that LinkedIn, somewhere else?
You can go on LinkedIn. I'm answering to LinkedIn, and my email address is pretty easy to find. So
Okay. Good stuff. And then same for Julian. You've shared a lot of your expertise and what you have to offer in terms of value for these communication hubs on the job site. So if anyone wants to connect and learn more, where can they find you?
They can I'm on LinkedIn, obviously, and I'm responding to everybody there. Or I'm simply Julian at itcube.com with an E, and their first name. I guess I should declare the JULIAN at itcube.com too on my email. But easy to reach, or contact at itcube.com. I'm there. My phone number is there. Always ready for questions
Excellent.
and everything.
Yeah. Fantastic. So thanks for sharing that. And then I do want to say a really big thank you as well to both of you for coming on live and participating and sharing your expertise and insights, as well as for our audience for tuning in. So this live stream will be available for anyone who's maybe tuning in a little bit later on the recording. Thank you as well. And we look forward to seeing our audience and as well as many others on the next session. So thanks again. And with that, we will wrap our session for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Erin.
Thanks a lot. Have a very nice day. Bye bye.